Chapter 16. The Loom Opens Argas. Soil Without a Name. Presented by Red Cardinal Kitchen 2022. Before the loom stirred, in the still hour before light remembered its name, the loom slept beneath roots of silence. There, memory waited, unthreaded, but not lost. Those who would one day seek Argas were already walking toward it, carrying the dust of forgotten gardens in the folds of their breath. The loom does not thunder when it opens. It sighs, and the breath of old worlds gathers. Color becomes soil, and memory takes root where light once fell. The roar and the ruin. The roar was not of beasts, but of earth remembering. The ruin was not death, but silence learning to breathe. Beneath the ash, a single hue of dawn waits to name itself again. The market. They trade not in coin, but in echoes, warmth for word, bread for a memory. The soil beneath their feet hums softly, asking only to be known. The gathering. Around the smallest flame, they return to listening. The world is still unnamed, yet the breath between them begins to weave it whole again. The chamber before the loom. The chamber of Thea'lohm held steady. The colors that had flared and dimmed now rested like embers, quiet but unextinguished. Susan stood at the center, Jalen's near her, their hands brushing though neither had spoken since the last telling. Alarian's voice came first, not thunder, not whisper, but the sound of a stone rolling gently into place. The ground you stand upon, Susan, has many names, said Alarian. To you, and to those who lived before the weight of the rainbow, it was Old Earth, renamed Argas, for Argas County. And to those who came after, it was Scar, Cradle, and Vow alike. The rainbow planet's core, where we now remain. Althira's voice followed, woven with Alarian's, a thread of warmth through iron. You must see it not only in its breaking, said Althira softly, but in its beginning again. For Argas did not end when the rainbow settled. It began in a new way, with hands, with seed, with vow. Susan's lips parted, but she did not speak. Her pulse told her this was not the time for questions. The light along the corvale shifted, faint ripples of color running through the fractures in the stone. The chamber was not showing her visions now, it was simply listening, as though even the walls needed to hear the story told aloud. Argas was not an empire of towers or a kingdom of crowns, said Alarian. It was a place of neighbors, of soil, of rivers that ran steady until the weight of rainbow pressed them into new beds. The people were not mighty in armies or rich in metals, said Althira. They were mighty in tending. They knew the worth of water, the patience of seed, the shelter of fire. When all else was torn, they remembered those things. Susan felt Jalen's hand close over hers. His silence was its own confession. He knew all this already, had carried it within him while she lived only fragments. The day came when the land groaned, said Alarian. The cedars would later call it the day of the stone, for they believed an asteroid struck their soil. But it was not an asteroid. It was the weight of rainbow, finishing its settling upon old Earth, and Argas took the bearing. The ground broke, homes fell, fires rose, said Althira. Yet the people did not scatter. They stood around water, around bread, around each other. And in that standing, a name was born, Cedars. Susan shivered, though no cold stirred the chamber. The word itself carried weight, like a seed held in the palm, small, yet promising a field. Listen well, said Althira, for what we speak now will not remain only as words. It will open before you as days, as faces, as work and as vow. The loom has turned and Argas will rise in the telling. As the last syllable fell, the corvale's colors spilled outward like threads drawn from a shuttle. Smoke became color, color became air. Susan's vision blurred. When she blinked, the chamber was gone. The breath line continues. Argas was not the end of the journey, but the first remembering. From one seed of light rose 1,000 hands of soil, learning once more the language of creation. And in that quiet, Susan turned to Ilarion and whispered, "The loom never ends, it only breathes between us." For new viewers, if this story spoke to you, pause and breathe. Our subscribing circle at Red Cardinal Kitchen will welcome your light. When you subscribe, every seed we plant here grows a little brighter through your presence. Red Cardinal Kitchen, bringing stories across breathlines and worlds, where memory and myth walk together.